Congressman Himes live and in person on What the Heck is Going On. Let's talk about what the heck is going on, Harvard. What is going on?
Yeah, what the heck is going on with Harvard is more broadly what's happening to some pretty important stuff. This is research dollars, right? So cures, vaccines, where do they come from? They don't come from this building. They come because we send money to places like Harvard, MIT, Stanford, other big research universities to develop these things. So the president is attacking Harvard, right? And by the way, there's a conversation to be had about a place like Harvard and, were they allowing for multiple points of view? Were they allowing for free speech? Absolutely. I went there. I know I was angry too, but they should change that. But you cannot change that by saying we're going to deny you all funds, because what that means is that fewer vaccines get made, fewer cures get made, and people stay sick and die, right? A lot more than they would otherwise need to. So the idea of removing the money is an idea that ultimately, people say, oh, Harvard, what does that have to do with me? Because an awful lot of, cures and vaccines and other innovations are coming out of those places.
Absolutely. And looking at it, do you believe this is personal with the president? There's a lot of murmurs of Barron didn't get in. Do we think that's what's going on, or is it just simply because Harvard won't bend a knee like others?
He went to Penn, right? Which is kind of like Harvard in terms of what it is. So I don't think it's that. I think it's I think the president succeeds by enraging people. And it's pretty easy to enrage people over an elite university, right? Frankly, sometimes I get enraged because I feel like the ivory tower is so ivory tower. So I get it. And, I've actually pushed the president of Harvard, a couple presidents of Harvard, to be more serious about free speech and that sort of thing. But again, it's the two things are a problem. One, what we talked about, which is stopping the innovation, stopping the drugs that are being developed as we speak. And number two is, my Republican friends need to ask themselves, do they really want to establish this president? Because there's like religious universities in this country too. Do you want a Democratic president coming in and saying, hey, you can't teach religion if you're taking federal dollars? It's just, the federal government should not be involved in the management of private universities.
Absolutely. And what can the American person do? They feel like out of control and they don't know what to do. What would your advice be to the American person?
I think two things. The president's still pretty popular with his people, right? Now that's going to change as tariffs raise prices on automobiles and stuff that people need to buy, as they see the draconian cuts that are coming to Medicaid, to rural hospitals. That's going to begin to change, but we need people to explain to their neighbors who may be excited about an attack on Harvard that this means that your daughter with leukemia is going to be less likely to get a cure. There's going to be less likely to be vaccines. We just need to explain that. And then, of course, we need to politically mobilize, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, in this country, we still make political decisions based on elections,
right,
despite the fact that others in the other party would like to reduce that opportunity for people. And look, if you don't participate, if you don't vote, bad things are going to happen.
Absolutely. Don't agonize, organize, right?
Exactly.
Pelosi says, right?
Exactly.
Thank you so much.